We were all super new to D&D, but we all wanted to play, and I had the most experience, as I'd seen an actual play podcast, so I was DMing. Yeah, because that gives you all the knowledge you could possibly need. That's also why I started DMing. No shame. This starts off with our first session, kinda. We're all hanging out normally. It was a very impromptu start to the playing. Only the ranger had his character sheet on him, so him and my first character, a druid, joined him in a pre-written dungeon, the Death Pit of Moloch, so he wouldn't die immediately, while I also DM'd and the fighter watched. It was going great until we got to the end where there was a cult leader that I described as very old, like 90 or something. Now, the first thing about Ranger is he is also very, excitable. And the thing about me and Fighter is that we're asexual and fairly uncomfortable with sex, though I at least didn't know how uncomfortable I was at the time. So Ranger proceeds to try and sleep with the old cult leader instead of fighting, and as a newbie DM, I ask him to roll for it, and he rolls a nat 20. My druid pieces out to the other room that hadn't been cleared, and hid under the table till it was done. Wait, hold on, it hadn't been cleared?
I am a cruel hunter. I stalk this dungeon in search of adventurers to kill. No adventurer would be so foolish as to even be within 10 feet of my presence. And, whoa. Dude, what are you doing? Are you hiding in this room? This dungeon has dozens of rooms. Why would you hide in the one room with the guy with the axe who's trying to kill you? Because now I'm just gonna kill you.
Dude, have you seen what's in the next room?
What? I will entertain your cowardice.
No, don't go in there.
Calm down. It's nothing. Wow. That was hard.
The ranger continued to be horny throughout the campaign until I realized that, hey, I'm actually very uncomfortable and don't want to describe or fade to black. I don't want to do that. It makes me crawl on my skin. I talked to him and have eliminated sex from the campaign for my and Fighter's comfort. However, sleeping with the cult leader has become an in-joke in my group, which is funny and expected. Well, I'm okay with intimacy in a fade to black sense. Not everyone is. And I'm glad that the ranger was totally cool with just eliminating the content entirely. If only more people could be so considerate of others' feelings. I watched your videos for a while and I decided there is a story I have from 8 years ago that might be of interest to you. At the time, I, 19 female, had very little experience playing D&D outside of games my dad ran for me growing up. It wasn't my first time playing with a group, but it might as well have been from the few times I got into in the past. For all intents and purposes, let's refer to problem player as his class, Fighter, 24 male at the time. Fighter was a very loud-spoken individual that, even from the start of the campaign, had major main character syndrome. He would monopolize the DM's time, go off on his own often, and throw fits if something bad happened to his character. The DM allowed this to happen because they were friends, and there were extenuating circumstances. I'll get to that later. Oftentimes, Fighter would bribe the DM in order to get his way.
Excuse me, sir.
In this campaign, I was playing an aquatic gnome ranger who had a low charisma score. I would also mention that my character was male. I preferred to play male characters because I was specifically afraid of creeps at the table. As I said, I was still new to D&D outside the safety of my family. We were a few sessions in, and the other players and I were absolutely done with Fighter constantly one-upping our character's achievements, as well as taking on dungeon bosses alone, and somehow surviving. I know at least a couple of us were contemplating leaving the group, but nothing was as bad as the culmination of Fighter's pig-headedness. Because I was one of the only 2 women at the table, Fighter was a bit of a simp for me, and tried to express that by helping out my character a lot, either arguing to give me the best loot, after him, of course, or unfairly singling me out as a major hero in the campaign. As previously stated, my character had low charisma, and I didn't know how to handle being in character constantly in the spotlight. There was, finally, one occasion in particular where Fighter bribed the DM for 2 scrolls, Polymorph and Permanency. He took my character aside, away from the rest of the group, and casted both spells on my character to turn him female so he could... Whoa! What?
Alright, caller number 7. You're calling us about a woman who will not submit to you sexually, but as men, as alpha males, We need to assert our dominance. Yeah, assert your dominance. Yep, that totally makes sense. Thank you, guy who agrees with everything I say. You need to assert your dominance over her. Don't take no for an answer, because taking no for an answer means you give up, and that's not very alpha of you.
Wait, she? It's not a she.
What?
Yeah, I'm talking about a guy. It's my boyfriend.
You can't assert your dominance over a guy. That would be gay. Yeah, because that would be gay. Yeah, gay bad. You can't be gay. That's crossing the line. All right, that's crossing. You're not down with homoeroticism. That's not what we're about.
Also, can polymorph now be used as a gender transition spell? Cool. Obviously, I was not okay with this. I voiced my discomfort immediately to the DM, who, surprisingly, actually put his foot down during this specific occasion. Long story short, an argument broke out between fighter and DM, and eventually everyone just left due to the awkward and tense atmosphere. I messaged the DM a few days later saying I was pulling out of the campaign, and even though my decision was final, the DM did tell me he kicked Fighter from the table. I came to find out later that the reason Fighter got away with so much of that bad behavior was entirely because he was blackmailing the DM. Okay, whoa. Blackmailing the DM with what? DM, what did you do? What crimes? What crimes have you committed? Inexcusable. And I continue to be picky about the groups I play with as a result. Seriously, I gotta know what the relationship between the DM and this fighter is, because, my god. In any case, besides the DM's possible crimes that he's being blackmailed with, exploiting a friendship to get favor at the table is nothing new. It's happened before. Hell, sometimes it happens on accident. I mean, sometimes you just get favorites as a DM. It's natural, but that doesn't mean it's okay. When favoritism gets noticed, it can almost instantly crush the fun of a group. In this case, the favoritism was apparently very intentional because there's some blackmail going on. Still curious as to what. Like, seriously, how do you not tell me?
You can't just leave a gossip girl with half the information.
Anyway, in this case, the favoritism got really creepy, which sucks. I have a feeling there's a theme in this video. A continuing, never-ending theme. What can I say? There are plenty of incels out there, and they're all very easy to make fun of. I played and was a storyteller for classic World of Darkness for almost 2 decades. This was the last straw. This wasn't even that bad, it was just what set me over the edge into quitting as a storyteller. I don't even know if it was that bad or if I was the bad guy in the end for it. I had been approached by a new friend I'd only met a few weeks prior to help him learn classic World of Darkness, specifically Vampire the Masquerade. Not my favorite WoD venue, but definitely fun. I'm very happy to try to teach him the game. It's way more straightforward with its mechanics than D&D using a D10 system, so the hardest part is teaching people to be comfortable with the roleplay itself and getting into character, at least usually. There were 3 people who were all eager and willing to learn, and 3 others who already knew the basics. And of course, the one guy who asked me to help him in the first place. I typed up an abbreviated explanation and explained to each person how to make a character first. This required explaining the basics of the world, politics, and clans. Please don't make me read out the clans. I can't pronounce any of this crap. Then the character sheets, now fill them out. Then provide a PDF of the core books for WoD and Vampire the Masquerade with bookmarked pages. Everyone seemed to catch on very quickly, and 6 people had their characters made with background stories of various and all adequate levels of detail. Fan-friggin-tastic. And 2 of the people who had never even heard of the game before had their characters connected, and some NPCs connected, and I could interject into the world beautifully. I love it! And then there was Steve. He hadn't even gotten started, so I asked him what was up.
Steve.
He asked me to clarify some things on the stats, and I explained, and he seemed to understand. Then a few days go by. As I'm waiting for him, the others were okay with waiting too, I decided to build a website for our fictional city, outlining the various districts and powerful NPCs I had in mind. Steve still hadn't started, and now he was asking the other players to help him, then acting confused and started asking them to fill out his character sheet for him. No one wanted to do that. Nor did I. So I told him we could start the story without him and he could join when he finished. Maybe observing a session would help him make his character. He threw a fit at the idea and insisted on just waiting. Just give him one more day. So we waited another day, and still, Steve had not started his character sheet. He insisted that I should do it for him because I knew the game and he didn't, and that's kind of the point of me teaching everyone and providing the reading material. You know, give a guy a fish, teach him to fish, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it doesn't actually work, because I think fishing is kind of freaking boring, so I'd starve anyway, but still, principle. I told him I wasn't gonna do that. He needs to do it himself. It's his character. And in World of Darkness, because it's so roleplay focused and less combat focused, it's not helpful to have someone make the character for him. He called me some very derogatory things, then deleted the entire Discord and blocked me, effectively wasting over a week of my time and his friend's time, and I haven't played/story told since. Wait, what about the rest of the people? But like I said, it was just the last straw. After decades of both awesome stories and a whole lot of BS and weird, creepy guys. Anyway, I might start playing again one day, but I'm old, and it's exhausting. I know there's someone in the comments rushing to yell at this guy for not DMing the game with the rest of the people, and that is my first instinct, but, I mean, look, I'm wrong. If you don't have the energy for DMing, you don't have the energy for DMing. It is as simple as that. Being the game master for any game can be extremely tiring if you don't take breaks, and this might have been your sign that it just wasn't going to work out for you. And yeah, that sucks for the players, and I feel for them. But if they play with a GM who's burnt out and tired and exhausted, the game's going to suck anyway. So it's better to just admit when you can't do it. Yeah, Steve sucks. But at the end of the day, the real reason you stopped was because you were tired, and you know what? That's okay. We're a party of 10 regulars at this point, and there was no session 0. Wait! I sent you a previous story about this party, so Crispy, you've already sacrificed someone, so okay. Thank you! But even if there had been a session 0, people have dropped in and out over time, so no one knows everyone's comfort level. The most frustrating of our cast being a ranger who spent the last session with headphones on, and when they were asked what they want to do, the response was basically, whatever everyone else is doing, and just didn't engage at all unless they were being asked directly. That was until we were told there were people watching us. We rolled for stealth so they didn't attack and got successes. I was about to ask to roll to see if we knew who these people were. We've been in this town for a few months, and they just announced, I'm going to attack them. The DM asked if they were sure, and they were like, leading us to a really difficult fight that I'm sure was going to TPK us during the next session, unless some of us were really lucky. Hey, sometimes, you know, you're playing a stealth game, it's all stealthy, but then, violence is fun. Their druid friend, who also didn't get involved in anything that was being said at the table, and spent the whole session on their tablet. I'm hoping their lack of interest was just due to unfamiliarity, so fingers crossed they get more involved as the campaign progresses. A fighter, who is a literal child, brought to the table by their parent, an original player, who has told us that we can no longer swear because he's there. It's not like we swear like sailors, but the rest of us are adults, and sometimes a curse just slips out in the heat of the moment. And being a kid, he's wanting to kill everything and everyone and is constantly making fart and poop jokes. Okay, I know a lot of adults that make fart and poop jokes, so you know, it's nothing you can do. The fourth player, I can't remember the class, so we'll call him Bob, who is trying to make an entire party who's just overpowered. One session he announces that all of our weapons are now enchanted and do additional damage, and the next session he announces the same for armor because he's a blacksmith. Yeah, I don't know why the DM is allowing it either. Some of us have tried to say, no thank you. I just looted some armor a few sessions ago that increased my AC and has enchantments. I already thought that was a lot, and I'm happy where my build is right now. And he berates us that we're uncreative or ungrateful. He also comes up with extravagant plans, constantly trying to guess the DM's plots, and then boasts that no one can get over on him when he's proven right. Bob's friend, Wizard, who joined a few sessions before him, whose favorite thing is to say, but we could do that in 3.5, or this was so much better in 3.5 every time he's told no about something. We're playing 5e. Most of us have never even touched 3.5. A player who has only been to 2 sessions so far, and has spent the last one telling me passionately how everyone ships mine and Bob's characters together. There's never been any interest in romance between any of the characters or players. As I remember, one of our first sessions, a bunch of us said we don't like romance in our games. So I'm pretty sure it's just this one guy who has taken an interest in it. Kind of minor, but it has come out of nowhere. It's making me hyper aware of any character interactions I have with Bob's character. I love some of the other players. Just doing the math, you love 4 out of the players, so that's like a 40% score. That's a failing grade, so, you know, you have my opinion. The DM is a great person, albeit too much of a people pleaser, but he has a great plot when people show interest in it. Some of the characters have really sweet friendships, and the DM has great home rules he's introduced to, but I won't share those in case it identifies them, but it makes things better. Look, I have no idea which story you did previously, so I'm not going to even try to remember, but the point is that you don't need to stay in this group if you're not having fun 60% of the time. Look, bad D&D doesn't mean bad 100% of the time. RPG horror stories sometimes are a bunch of just scattered individual moments over the course of a couple years. Does that mean they're okay? Hell no. Does that mean you should abandon your friends at the drop of a hat? Also, no. There is a balance, and that balance is at least putting some thought into it. How much enjoyment are you actually getting out of this? Would these people listen to you if you explained your grievances? Those are all important facts in assessing if these people are your friends. And frankly, being with friends is an important part of tabletop. The warnings apply to the very end of the story, just so you are aware. There's probably also minor self-offing warnings in here, as a character does try to off themselves as a test, essentially, but there's no genuine thoughts of any topic like that. Apologies if the grammar on this is poor, it's not my strong suit. Also, I know this is a long ramble, but so much happened, and it was all just so very odd from my perspective, so I feel like typing it out. Maybe my lack of experience led me to a gross misunderstanding of how this would play out, but whether or not this was just me misinterpreting the situation or a genuine issue with clarity, either way, it went extremely poorly, and I feel like I should leave the campaign. I am currently trying to draft up a message saying I would like to quit, but if I leave, it will have to be canceled because one player already quit partway through the game, and I feel a little guilty, but mostly, I want to avoid any potential altercations online, and I don't know how to go about it without severely pissing someone off. A little context, I live in an area with a very religious population, so there aren't a lot of people who play D&D, and I have been wanting to try it out for a little bit. So I figured I would find an online game to join. So I found a server that has a campaign starting soon, and messaged the DM saying I was interested, but I hadn't played before, and was wondering if he was open to a first-time player. He said he was, and that he was looking for players. I had a character prepared because I was told by other server members that it was the safest way to join the campaign. My character was a human rogue, but I was informed that one of the other players was already playing a rogue, so I said okay, and I would make a different character. You can stack rogues. Like, as long as you're not playing the same spec, then I feel like it should be fine. The characters should be different enough, and like, 2's not that bad. We then proceeded to do a voice call where he rambled to me for a while about homebrew. That seemed to be a topic of interest to him because he was very enthusiastic about me picking some random homebrew for my character. I said I was confused by that and didn't know how to pick homebrew, as I wouldn't be able to tell if it was actually balanced or if it was actually a good idea in any way, shape, or form. He said I didn't have to pick homebrew, but seemed disappointed and proceeded to go on a 30-minute tangent, showing me some kind of April Fool's homebrew on Wikidot. This is the most ADHD thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my god. I'm unsure if that was meant to be an example of bad homebrew to help me out. I had a bad migraine at this point and felt like someone was shoving an ice pick in my left eye, but I just nodded along and tried very hard to listen. He also showed me some poetry he made. Oh my god, it's not getting better! Yeah, I had no comment on that because I did not even attempt to read it with my headache, and I'm no poetry critic, but I know it was serious in tone and included at least one Star Wars reference. I know this was because I declined to read it, but he explained what the whole poem was to me. He also went on great lengths about how I should, under no circumstances, attack NPCs because they were extremely powerful and would essentially nuke my character. He went at great lengths about how they were all basically gods. I agreed not to do that and thanked him for the warning.
Hi, welcome to Wade's Tavern. What can I get for you? Yeah, hi, I was hoping to book a room. That'll be 100 gold. Okay, yeah, that seems a little bit expensive. What did you say? That seems a little expensive. How dare you defy the will of one of your gods! I will smite you down where you stand and smoke your ashes upon the wall of my tavern. Prepare for your end! Okay, cool. Not customer.
In the end, we agreed that I would do some research and create a new character and run it by him. After a while, I created my character, a Wire Genasi Tempest Cleric, who I was quite proud of and thought it was a pretty good character. I tried to pick a decently powerful spec, given that he said we would be up against strong enemies. I made a sketch of my character and ran it by him. He said he liked it, and I asked some clarifying technical questions, about half of which were answered, but I figured I could work out the rest in session 0. Anyway, I get to the session, and it starts out with me and the other 3 players introducing themselves. They seem to be all neutral and evil-aligned characters, but I was expecting that, given that we were starting in a prison, so this is not bothering me at all. The other players seem pretty normal and nice. I thought maybe after this we could work out some technical aspects and get a generally better understanding of what's going to go down. As he had previously said on the voice call, I could ask technical questions and work out a better understanding of the game in session 0. But after we say all of our names, we proceed to jump into an absolutely insane prison break scene in which one of the aforementioned insanely powerful NPCs proceeds to cause an explosion and teleport us out of the prison in a matter of minutes. Before I can open my mouth, I decided to go with the flow and hope it slows down soon. We proceed to teleport out, and this NPC goes on a whole ramble about how she needs to break her dad, who is apparently a god, out of a jail for gods. And by the way, we're all level 5, and offers like a functionally infinite amount of gold in return. My character doesn't particularly care for gold, or anything she can offer, but goes along out of curiosity. Some other players have questions about what happens if they refuse, and she proceeds to summon a bunch of wolves, saying she'll set them on us if we don't agree. Okay, like, what's a bunch? Because a wolf has 11 hit points. You're level 5. Fireball. We agreed, and we are teleported to her house, which is apparently on the back of a Tarrasque. At this point, one of the characters tries to duel the NPC, and it's immediately clear that this NPC is just, like, unbeatable. They aren't even real attacks. Half the time, he doesn't roll, stating the player couldn't reasonably beat her anyway, so she's just able to immediately defeat the character. The duel ends with the aforementioned character entombed in a cave without an opening in the back of the Tarrasque. I start to slowly back away from the NPC, but the pools of acid on the back of the Tarrasque start to rise up when I do this, so I stop. At this point, another player decides he's tired of the NPC's games and attempts to jump off the back of the Tarrasque. Yeah, dude, get me out of here. I'm gone. But he is immediately teleported to the top again. He tries various other methods of offing himself, and they end in a similar way before the NPC puts her hand on his head and attempts a spell to knock the character unconscious. The character makes a high con save, but fails. The DM says the character is knocked unconscious for a few minutes. When he returns to consciousness, he seems to be infantile and thinks the NPC is his mom. At this point, the player decides to leave because he doesn't feel like he has any actual ability to affect the story in any way. He is so polite about it. Says that playstyles are just not compatible and doesn't mean to offend the DM. He then proceeds to leave the call, and the NPC kills his character for disrespecting her father. Wait, is her dad the DM? Oh my god. At this point, we are half an hour in, and I am extremely lost. I'm confused. We cut to a 2-week journey to wherever we're going on the back of this Tarrasque, and one of our now 3 remaining characters is having connectivity issues and needs to leave. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Hey, Druid, your camera turned off. Is your connection okay?
Oh yeah, my connection.
It's so bad. It's the Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going. Good frickin' riddance.
It's just me and one other guy now. He asks if there is anything we would like to do while we wait, and there are some minor character interactions, and then one of the characters asks if there is a training area and initiates a fight with some holographic elves. There's a lot more of them than him, and he seems nervous and asks if anyone else is around. I say my character is probably sitting on the sidelines chilling. It is just a training session, so I don't mind joining in for a bit because I assume it won't go south since it's like a controlled circumstance. But eventually the other character is really low on hit points, and I joined the initiative to heal him because he was about to die, and there were like 3 dudes left. So I felt like my assumption that things wouldn't go south was incorrect. But I'm in the fight now, and DM encourages me to use a lightning spell, as apparently it would do maximum damage because of my domain. The only lightning spell I have is a 3rd level, Call Lightning. He seems surprised that Call Lightning is 3rd level, but we both double check and confirm it is. After that, another round goes by, and there is still one guy. It's my turn again, and I cast Guiding Bolt. I upcast to level 3 because screw it, we are traveling. Don't really need to save spell slots. You can also just recast the Call Lightning because you hold concentration on it. Just FYI. Apparently, though, this guy doesn't know what Guiding Bolt is, which is shocking to me because I thought that was the most stereotypical cleric spell there is, and I know what it was just from existing on the internet. The other player explains the spell, and I cast it. I hit it, but he survives, barely. The remaining hologram then proceeds to knock the other guy unconscious on his turn. I had no idea he was that low on hit points. At this point, the fight ends with the OP NPC stepping in and absolutely murdering the last hologram elf guy without a roll and healing the unconscious player character. And then, out of nowhere, the NPC asks if the other player character, if they look beautiful, and casts Charm Person on them. And then, while he is charmed, he's a Warforged, by the way, so I'm not sure about the logistics of that, but that's not the point, bro, trust me. When the Exo Stranger showed up in Destiny, dudes figured out the logistics freaking quick. I don't know if the other player was in on this or expected it, as he and the DM seemed to know each other. At this point, I am deeply uncomfortable. It was stated again that this campaign would have adult content, which I was fine with, but I assumed any encounters like that would be between consenting parties, though I did not have a chance to clarify this. I voice my discomfort, and he says it won't happen again in the future, and this is what session zeros are for. They're good for testing boundaries. I say that he could have just asked me what I was comfortable with up front, and he says he's better than other DMs with content like that because some will make you describe it. I say the issue isn't how graphic it is, it's that there wasn't consent, and he says again that won't happen again. It was just to test my boundaries. I said okay, and leave the call. I assumed a session 0 would be talking and figuring out logistics, and I'm absolutely bewildered and blindsided, but this was my first experience. Am I stupid and wrong and this is how D&D is typically played, or is this weird like I think it is? If I am just not understanding how this sort of thing is meant to play out, if this is normal, please let me know, but either way, this was poor all around. Session zeros are for talking about boundaries, not testing them. This is a horrific perversion of everything that matters when it comes to figuring out what your players are comfortable with. I really hope this isn't a thing. Incels using the idea of helping people to feel comfortable as an excuse to make people actively uncomfortable as a way to test them out, to see if they fit. Look, if someone's uncomfortable, they'll just let you know. Session zeros are just talking. Sometimes it's not even talking. When it comes to comfortability, I actually prefer that we don't talk about it. There are things I'd rather just keep to myself and the DM, and that means private messaging. Sometimes that is preferable. A lot of people just do anonymous forms. Either way works, but the point is that this does not work. I mean, leading up to the intimate encounter at the end, it was all bad. From the overpowered NPC, to the near nonsensical introduction to the game lore, to not even letting a character off himself from how boring the session was, man, it was all bad. And that final encounter, it was the worst of it all. Hey, that's a wrap. If you guys enjoyed, you might enjoy yesterday's skit compilation. We have a bunch of fun skits in August, and I put them all in a little montage. It was a lot of fun. Linked in the cards. But before you go, please do leave a like on this episode and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment worst session 0 to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Hey, by the way, if you have your own horror stories, you can send them directly to us. There's an email down in the description down below. Send your stories our way for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But hey, even if you don't have any stories, in essence, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you all next time. Farewell.
Gay plus girl kind of okay, because I can jerk my ditty to it. But gay plus boy, not good. Not good at all. No, bad. Very bad. Don't be gay. Be gay is bad. Okay?